Hey everyone, it's Margarita Yang, and today is Saturday, May 2nd, and today marks day 14 from my first COVID-19 symptom. I tested positive for COVID-19 on last Friday, April 24th, and ever since then, people who know me in real life have been asking me to make a video on what it's like for me to have COVID-19 because I'm apparently the first person they know in real life to actually have gotten it. Just a little background, I'm 25 years old. I do not have any underlying conditions. In general, I take very good care of my health. Every morning for breakfast, I eat a green smoothie, and for lunch and dinner, I eat very healthy too. I cook pretty much all of my meals from scratch, and I only order or eat at a restaurant once a week. And on top of that, I got a lot of sleep. I got like 8 to 9 hours of sleep. Before this whole coronavirus outbreak happened, before I had to like commute to work by car, I would save money by taking the bus to work, but then going home, I would walk home from work a few times a week. For a few times a week, I was walking 3 miles a day. So I think I had a pretty healthy pair of lungs. But this COVID-19 really did knock me out. So I got my first symptom on Sunday, April 19th. So I've been sewing masks for people to give away for free for the past few weeks. And I went into the office where I work to make masks on that Sunday. And I remember I was sewing for like 7 hours that day. And by the end of it, I was just so tired. My body ached a lot. And still, like, I had to buy groceries to prepare my lunch for the week. And I just remember coming back from the grocery store just feeling so exhausted. And my body just ached like all over. And I took a 2 hour nap. And even after taking that 2 hour nap in the evening, I didn't feel well rested. I was on a video call with my friends and they told me I looked like I was really tired and I really was. I ate dinner and then after dinner I felt like my body was heating up. I felt extremely hot. I always feel really cold, so it was really weird for me to feel that hot and I thought I was getting sick. But then I took my temperature and my temperature was normal, so I figured, okay, well, maybe it's just a fluke. Maybe I just need to get some rest. I've been sewing for 7 hours today, so I might feel better tomorrow. And then the next day, I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I went into the office to make more masks before my 9 o'clock job begins. And I felt okay. I mean, the body aches were still kind of there. 9 o'clock, I started working my job. Things kind of just went downhill from there. I felt really cold all of a sudden. I brought my thermometer to work, and by 9:30, my temperature was up to like 99 point something. I don't remember what it was exactly, but then at 10 o'clock, it was like even higher, like 99 point something. I don't remember, but it went higher. And then, so I told my boss, like, I think I need to go home. I think I'm developing a fever and I feel sick. I feel really cold right now, so I gotta go. I went home and I just went straight to bed. I had trouble falling asleep. Under two blankets, I was basically shivering. My head hurt. I was developing a sore throat. Finally, I fell asleep. But then my coworker didn't know I felt sick and I went home. So she called me up about work and I was like, oh, you just woke me up. And then I checked my temperature again and it went up to like 99.7. Yeah, I felt really hot at 99.7. Called up my primary care doctor and she told me that my symptoms sounded just like COVID-19 and that I'm going to have to quarantine myself for 7 days just to make sure. And she highly suggested that I go get tested for COVID-19. My husband, who was taking care of me, he looked up testing centers in Boston, called up one urgent care center, and we had a teleconference. 2:40 p.m. I get up from my bed and I have that teleconference to get screened before I can get a COVID-19 test. She asked me all my symptoms. I told her I have body aches, I have a headache, I have a sore throat, my throat feels really itchy. I don't have any dry coughs yet, but you know that feeling when your throat gets really itchy and you just know that the dry cough is coming soon? I told her that. And I told her my temperature was 99.7. But that was like after sleeping for under two blankets. And then that doctor who was screening me for the COVID-19 test basically told me that my symptoms were not bad enough to get tested for COVID-19. especially considering that the three symptoms that they look for are a fever. And she said, you don't even have a real fever. A real fever is 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, and mine was 99.7. So it wasn't even a real fever in her eyes. And then I didn't have a dry cough yet. And on top of that, I didn't have shortness of breath. And she told me that if I develop any of those three, then I can get tested. But for now, I'm not bad enough to get tested. And by the way, she doubts I even have COVID-19 because I don't have those three symptoms. I was really offended that she thought I wasn't sick enough because I felt really lousy at the time. I told her that it was my own primary care doctor who suggested I go get tested, so I was just following her instructions. But anyway, it's not personal, I understand. But I went back to my primary care doctor and she told me that it really sucked that I can't get tested even though I have symptoms, and that you don't need a real fever to test positive for COVID-19. So from then on, I never took Tylenol ever again. I never took Tylenol just to see if my temperature would get above 100.4 so I could be able to get tested. But thankfully, on that same day, the governor announced that they're releasing the addresses of different testing centers. I found out that the hospital where I lived down the block from was offering drive-through COVID-19 tests, and my doctor faxed in an order for me to get tested, and I was approved. So on Wednesday, I did get tested. But on Tuesday, when I was waiting for them to call me to go get tested, which they never did, they never called me on Tuesday to make the appointment, I had a 99.7 degree temperature. I still had chills. I still had the body ache. I still had the sore throat, like all the same symptoms from the first day. But on top of that, I was developing a dry cough, and I was coughing like really violently to the point where my ribs hurt. Since I really did develop the dry cough, then maybe I do have COVID-19, right? And then on Wednesday, I was feeling better. Like I didn't have a fever. The chills were gone. The dry cough wasn't as violent. I didn't cough as much as before. I still did have the body aches, the sore throat, and a major headache. I had a major headache. I did have enough energy to like walk around and be my usual self. So I thought like, okay, well, maybe this isn't COVID-19. My coworker who I was in contact with, it turns out he fell ill all of a sudden. And I asked him, how do you feel? He's like, I feel like I got hit by a truck. And I asked him to list the symptoms that he had, and he basically had all the same symptoms that I had. It was then that I pretty much thought in my heart, I think I have COVID-19, because there's no way that he's also developing these symptoms. I was barely in contact with him, so considering how contagious this coronavirus is, I thought I had COVID-19 by then, but I went and got tested. Oh my God, it was so painful when they put the nose swab up my nose, and I felt like my nose was getting raped. My nose was basically like bleeding on and off for the next day after they did that. I think it really traumatized my nose. Yeah, that Wednesday I felt okay. Then Thursday came and I didn't have energy to do anything. I was in bed all day, at least the first 3-4 days. I felt like I had enough energy to play with my phone and text people and be on Facebook. But on that Thursday, I didn't have energy to even play with my phone. I was sleeping in bed all day. During the times that I did wake up, which was like I woke up like every 2 hours, I didn't have energy to do anything. I basically thought like I was gonna die, you know? I thought to myself, like, should I start writing a goodbye letter to everyone if I end up dying and I have COVID-19? And then Friday morning came, and then my doctor told me, you tested positive for COVID-19. And then I was like, well, that explains everything. So it was then that I announced to people that, yes, I tested positive for COVID-19, and I had to tell everyone at work that I had COVID-19 and that they should quarantine themselves because I was in contact with them for the past 2 weeks. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, for those 3 days, I was basically getting better. I had the body ache, I had the headache, but my sore throat was going away. And it was kind of like a roller coaster for those 3 days, where like I got better, then worse, got better, then worse, got better, then worse. And then on Monday, I felt like, okay, I'm getting better. I had enough energy to watch a movie, so that was good news, considering that Thursday I didn't even have the energy to leave my bed and eat. I didn't have an appetite on Thursday. So on Monday, with an appetite and being able to watch a movie, I knew that I was recovering. And then on Tuesday, I felt better than Monday. On Wednesday, I was all cleared to go by my doctor to be able to leave my house. So on Wednesday morning, I went and bought groceries. I chose not to take the elevator in my apartment just in case. So I decided to walk up 4 flights of stairs instead. I was really out of breath. It was at that point I realized my body really took a beating from COVID-19. I didn't have any energy. I was plain old exhausted for the rest of the day. Thursday too, and Friday, I could feel that I'm better. I think I beat COVID-19, but my body definitely took a toll from this. It felt like it fought a battle. Today is Saturday, which marks day 14 from my first symptom. I'm starting to feel normal. I still have this like lingering cough. I read from other people that it's the last symptom to go away. It might take like maybe 2 more weeks for this cough to go away. But other than that, I think I'm on the road to recovery. But my coworker who got positive for COVID-19, he's in a hospital right now. So I feel really guilty if I'm the one who gave it to him. I'm not sure if he gave it to me or if I gave it to him, even though I'm the one who developed symptoms first. My husband also tested positive for COVID-19. Just exerting myself physically for a little bit to cook or to clean the house, it really drains me. And to have to take care of my husband and cook for him, it does take a lot of my energy to do that. I can't believe that Massachusetts, having a population of 6.8 million, at the time when I tested positive last Friday, there were 50,000 positive cases. That's like 0.7% out of the entire population of Massachusetts. I somehow ended up in that 0.7%. People who know me have been asking me, how do you think you got it? Well, I was wearing a mask and I was like trying to avoid people, with the social distancing thing. Still ended up getting it. It could have been either the grocery store because I still have to go shopping. It could have been from my own apartment building. There's 50 units inside the building that I live in, and there is the common area, and we all touch the same door handle. My husband, after he started coughing, he took out the trash 11 p.m. at night with mask on but no gloves, and we figured like at 11 o'clock at night it's safe for him to go out to take out the trash because people aren't really out and about at that time. But outside the door of the building was a guy smoking a cigarette, and the guy smoking a cigarette turned to my husband and said, "Oh, well, aren't you being extra careful and safe wearing your mask even to take out the trash, huh?" And lo and behold, he didn't know that my husband has COVID-19. I hope that guy is okay because he touched the same door handle after smoking his cigarette that my husband touched after taking out the trash. For all I know, I could have gotten COVID-19 like that. Or, I could have gotten it from my coworker because I was going into work and I was making masks in the office. So I don't know. It could have been from anywhere. This thing is really contagious. I don't regret having it though, because it really showed me who cares about me and who doesn't. With this YouTube channel growing in popularity and more viewers, more subscribers, sometimes gets kind of hard for me to figure out who actually cares about me. This really was an eye-opening experience for me, and it was also a wake-up call for me because on that Thursday when I was so exhausted I couldn't get out of bed, all I could do was be alone in my thoughts and basically listen to all the fears that I had. And I had like a fear of not being able to breathe later, or I had a fear of dying. I had a fear that my husband was not going to be okay. I had a fear that my coworker was not going to be okay. I had fears that my boss and my other coworkers would also get COVID-19. I had a ton of fears, and I realized that um, all these fears are all in my mind, and it was basically a big mental challenge for me to overcome these fears. And I had to look back on my life because I was thinking like, oh, just in case I die, do I regret anything, any sort of decisions that I made in my life? And the answer is no. I don't regret anything. I've lived a very full life. I always went after the things that I wanted, so I do not have any regrets. So if I did die today, I'd be okay. Well, that's all for you guys. I hope to make a finance video next time. This is for the people who are asking me how I'm doing.